Now, as I've said, we're going to be hearing from some survivors now, in their own words, in their own voice. So I'd like to invite up my sister, Diane Ginn, to have her say. Please give her a warm welcome.
I'm nervous, so please bear with me. I grew up in a household with physical, sexual and emotional abuse. You would expect that once the abuse ends, everything will be okay for that person. Nobody talks about the flashbacks, the nightmares, the depression or the distress caused by their trauma. I participated in the very first course and it was the best thing I ever did. It helped me to process my lived trauma and the effect it had on my life as an adult. Even one-to-one trauma therapy did not have the impact and effect that this course has had on my life. The best thing I took from the course that I've used on a daily basis is how my mind and body react to the freeze, flop or flee response, and how adrenaline being constantly released impacts my body. My mind and body thinks it is in constant danger because of the childhood trauma. I use methods I learned on the course to bring me back to the present and breathing techniques to calm myself down. That revelation blew my mind. I used to think that I was stupid, that I wasn't a normal person. I stayed at home mostly where it felt safe. I wouldn't try new things because I was scared something bad would happen to me, as so many things already had. I felt invisible, unlovable, insecure and alone. It was like being in a bubble watching other people live their lives around me. The more I did the breathing techniques and learned how the amygdala works concerning my fears, my flashbacks, my emotions, and the impact of the lived trauma on my body, the more motivation I had to combat and rectify this. I felt like I had woken up. For the first time in my life, I understood and I had the tools to help myself. I started to control some of that fear and anxiety. I started living my life and not just existing. Meeting people like me on the course was eye-opening. I saw ordinary people who had suffered traumatic events and were still suffering mental, emotional and physical conflict years later. One of the classes was about our future goals and aspirations. We all had dreams, needs and wants, just like the rest of the human race. One lady wanted to move to France. She made it a reality and she's been there for 5 years now, or even longer. Many had similar wishes that I hope they have achieved. I realise that I matter too, that I count, that I can achieve. I wanted to travel to Australia. I wanted to see the 7 wonders of the world. I wanted my teeth fixed. I wanted a job. I wanted to contribute.
You okay?
Yeah. During lockdown, my life was turned upside down again as control was taken away from me yet again. I struggled as control of my autonomy and my life is one thing that I must have as an adult. As a child, I had no say and no voice, and I started on a downward spiral. The twice weekly meetings held online by Chris Tack with other survivors was a lifeline for my sanity. They understood how I felt about control issues, a childhood trauma, how anxious and scared it made me feel. It got me through that year. Even now, I reach out to the WhatsApp group when I need advice, have a bad day, I want to vent or I have a query. They just understand where I'm coming from, where others may not. We talk, we share problems, and we meet each other's needs. We also meet up twice a year for a picnic in the summer and a meal near Christmas. It is a real community created by the SoB courses. I have made some lifelong friends as well. There is nothing else I know like it. I also try to eat healthier and drink more water as I have learnt about the impact of emotional eating and sugar cravings during the course. When feeling low, sugar will give me an instant dopamine hit, whereas the crash afterwards leaves me feeling sluggish and tired. Then I'm more inclined to give up and give in, and I don't have the energy to think positively. Being dehydrated also has a negative impact on body and mind. I still struggle at times, but I go back and read parts of the book that came with the course. I can then re-evaluate the fear or situation that I'm facing. Whenever I have a panic attack, I know it is past trauma just trying to warn me. Certain smells, noises and items of clothing are a huge trigger for me. A pair of certain slippers for decades, a huge trigger for me. Just a visual image or a memory of those slippers would send me reeling, finding it hard to breathe and the panic setting in. one I've proudly conquered by applying techniques from the course. I scrubbed out the abusing wear of those slippers and I placed it with an image of a person I love, who now quite happily wears slippers like those around the house without me having any reaction. I've let go of all the fear surrounding those who abused me. I am better than that and I deserve more. I am also writing poems, talking and sharing my story on Facebook, survivor organisations and much more to help and inspire others. I hope I have helped many because of the SoB course that I was lucky to attend. Just after the course, I started to volunteer in a charity shop. I found out I loved it and it progressed to 3 days a week. I met lovely volunteers who became family and very interesting customers who have become friends. An opening came up for an assistant manager. The SoB community encouraged me to apply. I listened to them and not the voice in my head saying, "You're no good, you have no chance, who would employ you?" Without the community vibe, I wouldn't have applied for that job, and I got that job. I've now been helping raise funds for end-of-life care. I got myself a job and I make a difference to others as well. That was one of my goals. Another life changer is my teeth. I avoided dentists at all costs because of fear and loss of control over my body. I had no front teeth, no smile and no confidence. Having a job enabled me to save up. I flew to Turkey last year twice for implants. I had the courage to tell them about my past, my fears and my struggles with dentists. The course gave me the ability to get rid of the shame that I carried, give the blame back to those who abused me and stand up for myself. I can even smile now. I can even smile when I do it now. I needed that. If you throw a pebble into a pond, it has ripples, and those ripples change the lives of survivors and those around them. My partner and my children have also benefited from the changes I've made in my life. We are all much happier, and I've been open and honest about my abuse. They all understand much better now. I have a diagnosis of CPTSD, and I work with it. I made it to Australia several times. I'm now working towards the 7 wonders of the world. I can only say thank you for changing my life and the countless lives of other survivors.